My name is Greg, and I'm 30 years old. My life isn't exactly a fairy tale. Before, I thought that as long as I had a stable job and a successful project, everything would be fine. But after all this, I realized that life isn't as simple as that. Things don't always go as planned, and I faced some situations that forced me to reflect on myself. One day, while I was sitting in my favorite cafe, trying to make plans for the app I'm developing, I ran into Tracy. She was someone I'd liked back in high school, but I never had the courage to talk to her. And today, I found myself face to face with her, right when I was trying to face all the failures in my life. "Greg? Is that you?" Tracy looked at me with a friendly smile. It felt like time hadn't passed at all since I last sat next to her in class back then. "Yeah, it's me," I replied, trying to keep calm even though I was feeling a mix of emotions. "Tracy, long time no see." "Really? How have you been? Been up to anything interesting?" she asked, her eyes lighting up when she mentioned work. I didn't want to tell her about my failures, about the rejection I received from all the investors. "Well, I'm working on an app about finding parking spots," I said, trying to make it sound all right. "It'll help people find parking spaces quickly without driving around in circles." Tracy looked at me with real interest. "That sounds great. I'd totally use an app like that. I hate driving around endlessly looking for parking." "Yeah, thanks," I sighed. "But the app needs a lot of funding, and so far every VC investor in the city has rejected me. It feels like no one believes in me." "I believe in you," she said, looking genuinely supportive. "Why?" "Because it's you. You were always one of the smartest kids in our class. Plus, you're a hard worker. Remember that brownie sale in 7th grade? We cleaned up, and it was because of your genius marketing ideas. I made 50 posters, and they were amazing. We sold out in under an hour." I smiled, remembering the past, but it didn't make me feel any better about my situation now. "Thanks, Tracy, but I think I've messed up already. Maybe I need to change how I work." A few days later, I found myself at a dinner gathering with friends. I'd prepared myself to hear more advice from Tracy, but this time, it was a bigger shock. At the dinner party, my friends kept judging me. "Greg, what are you doing here?" Joey asked, his tone filled with doubt. "I'm just thinking about some stuff," I replied, not wanting to tell him about my current failures. Joey sat down next to me, looking suspicious. "You don't seem fine. You know, you're one of the smartest people I know, but then you waste your money on meaningless stuff." I was a little taken aback, but I knew Joey had a point. "I've made some bad decisions, Joey. I spent money on useless things instead of investing in my app." "So, have you learned anything from that yet?" Joey asked, his face serious. I sat silently for a moment, thinking about what he said. "I guess I've learned that just having money doesn't guarantee success." I forgot what I really wanted to do. Joey patted my shoulder. "You're not a failure, Greg. You just need to find your confidence again. And if you need help, I'm here." After talking with Joey, I decided to sell the expensive sports car and all the luxury items I had bought to focus on my app again. I started from scratch, and soon enough, I bumped into Tracy again. She was working at a cafe, and I decided to go there and talk to her. "Tracy, I want to thank you," I said, feeling awkward. "Thank you for believing in me and helping me realize my mistakes." She looked at me and smiled. "It's nothing, Greg. I just want you to do what you really want." We talked about my app, and she helped me set up a pitch meeting with potential investors. In the end, I secured funding for my app, and I felt like I could finally achieve what I set out to do. As the days passed, I continued to work hard on my app. Tracy had been a huge support, not only helping me find the right investors, but also giving me that much-needed confidence boost. It was strange how a single conversation, a few words of encouragement, had changed my perspective on everything. One afternoon, I was sitting in the office space I had rented with the money I'd saved up from selling my car and watch, trying to fine-tune my app's user interface. I was exhausted, my eyes strained from staring at the screen for hours, but I knew I couldn't stop now. My phone buzzed, interrupting my focus. It was a message from Tracy. "Hey, I saw that you got your funding. I'm so proud of you. Do you have time to meet up later today? I have something important to share with you." I paused, rereading her message. I had no idea what she could want, but I was curious. We'd been spending a lot of time together working on the app, but I hadn't expected her to say something like this. I quickly texted back, "Sure, what's up? I'll be free around 6. When we met later that evening, I could tell something was different. Tracy was usually easygoing, always full of energy, but tonight she seemed nervous, her fingers tapping against the table as we sat at a local cafe. "Tracy, you're making me anxious. What's going on?" I asked, trying to lighten the mood. She hesitated for a moment before looking me straight in the eyes. "Greg, there's something I need to tell you. Something important. I've been thinking a lot about everything, about us, and I want to be honest with you." My heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean? Is everything okay?" Tracy took a deep breath. "I know we've been working together closely, and you've been doing amazing with the app. But I've realized something about myself. I've had feelings for you, for a while now, and I think you might feel the same way too." Her words hit me like a freight train. I had always admired Tracy. She was brilliant, supportive, and beautiful. But I never imagined she might feel the same way about me. "Tracy, I started, but she quickly interrupted. "I know, Greg. I know you probably didn't see it, but I couldn't keep it in any longer. You're a great person. You've worked so hard, and I've watched you grow. I care about you." I sat there, speechless. My mind raced, trying to process everything she had said. Here I was, thinking my life was about business and success, and now Tracy, the one person I never thought would look at me that way, had just opened up about her feelings. "Tracy, I didn't know what to say. But then I realized something. Maybe I had been so focused on my own failures and mistakes that I didn't recognize what was right in front of me. Maybe this was a new chapter in my life, one where I could finally have everything I'd worked for, not just professionally, but personally. "I feel the same way," I finally said, and her face lit up. "I've been so focused on the business, on fixing everything I messed up, that I didn't see what was right in front of me." Tracy smiled, a genuine, warm smile. "I'm glad to hear that." From that moment on, things between us shifted. We weren't just business partners anymore. We were something more. We worked even harder on the app, our bond growing stronger each day. We had something to prove, not just to the world, but to ourselves. Eventually, the app became a huge success. We launched it to the public, and within weeks, it gained traction. Investors started lining up, and we secured even more funding. The future was looking bright, not just for the app, but for our relationship as well. As for Haley, well, she came back into the picture too. After all that had happened, I ran into her at a fancy restaurant one night. She was there with a group of friends, her eyes widening when she saw me walk in. "Greg? Wow. I didn't expect to see you here," she said, clearly surprised. "Yeah, it's been a while," I replied, keeping my tone neutral. "How have you been?" Haley looked different. She wasn't the glamorous, confident woman I remembered. Her life had changed too. "Things have been rough. I've been working part-time at a cafe after losing my job. Things didn't go as planned, and I'm still trying to figure things out." I nodded, feeling a sense of empathy. I understand. Sometimes things don't go the way we expect. She paused, looking at me as if she was about to say something more, but then hesitated. You know, I was wrong about you. I was so focused on my own image, on what I thought I deserved, that I didn't see the value in what you were doing. I looked at her, thinking back on how I had tried to change myself for her, how I had made mistakes. It's okay. We all have our lessons to learn. Haley smiled faintly. I hope you and Tracy do well. You two make a great team. Thanks, Haley. I appreciate that. As I walked away, I realized just how far I had come. I wasn't the same person I was when I started this journey. I had learned what truly mattered: hard work, believing in yourself, and being open to love. Never lose sight of who you are in the pursuit of external validation. True success comes not just from achieving your goals, but from the relationships and the personal growth you experience along the way. Would you ever give someone a second chance, even if they had once ignored or rejected you? And if you were Greg, would you change how you approach the relationships in your life after learning these lessons? Let me know your thoughts.